Hi everybody and welcome back to my modeling channel. So tonight we're gonna build a Dash 8 Q400 from Eastern Express on scale 144 from NOK Air. So this is a Thai regional airline operating those aircraft, and so let's open the box and see what we have inside. So initially we have a couple of screws. So we're gonna start with maybe the main one, the fuselage. And as you can see, the fuselage is in a light gray color. And we can see that we have fine engravement, and which is really nice. I won't have to do too much work. All the panel lines are there. So it's really beautiful. Now I will show you the small, what I would say the dark side of that kit, of those brand, is this part basically is the mold basically is on top of the junction between the two fuselage half, and this basically will require extra work as you have it on every part. Some other parts are normally on other brands, you could have it on the side, but here basically that may give you enough opening to let you to do a lot of filling later on. So that's the dark part of those of Eastern Express models, but and it appears on some other brands. Anyway, let's move on to the further on. So we have another sprue, which is one engine, propeller, the undercarriage basically. So you have the gear, the main landing gear as well, one main landing gear, one nose wheel, one propeller, and and one pilot seat. So I would imagine this is one side, and then you have that part got detached. So you have also one propeller cone. So we move on to the other sprue, which is identical. So we have the same one. So we have one for the left, one for the right side. It's pretty straightforward. Then we're going to move on to our wings. The wings are like the fuselage, like I showed earlier, but all the panel lines are here. You got all your elevators and your speed brakes, and it's on three parts basically. So you have the upper part, which is in one part, and left and right side for the lower part. Then we're gonna move on to the tail. So the tail is in two halves. Then we also have the possibility of preparing the open cockpit for that model, but I'm gonna most probably do it closed with the decal for the windows. Normally if I use decal for the passenger windows, I'll do the same for the cockpit. Depending on the model, of course, but for this one, I decide I'm gonna mainly go for all decals options. So you have the horizontal stabilizer, the fin, the cockpit, which is here, and also some flaps fairing and some nose gear door. Clear parts, you have the landing lights, that you have two of those, I mean 1 and 2, and you will have as well the cockpit window, but we're gonna put that up front and close and get it in closed. Now let's check the instruction sheet. So the instruction sheet is pretty straightforward. A4 format, you got the kit description with every part, and the options, another. So you have basically the cockpit. You can build up the cockpit, the undercarriage, fuselage, engines, set up everything together, all the fence and gear doors, and then you move on to the paint job. Paint job, it's an A5 format, beautiful colorful livery, nice regional line from Thailand, and here is the decal sheet. So I will be able to tell you once the model is built. But apparently it's Paz Decal who made those decals for Eastern Express, and I've been working with Paz Decal in the past, and I have to say that they were very well. So I was very pleased of the result I got. You saw some of those models as well. So this concludes basically our kit review, and now we're gonna move on to the building part. So enough of talking, and let's start building. So we're gonna start this build by preparing our parts. So the initial part will be to cut out the nose gear wheel well and to prepare the parts. So as you can see, the parts are quite small on that aircraft, and so we're gonna have to use some tweezers and be able to cut everything. Then we're gonna cut out our fuselage, and as you can see, there is some, as I was mentioning in the kit description, there is a lot of plastic basically coming from the mold that you have to adjust, and you have to be careful with that part. So that requires a little bit of extra work compared to some other brands, but honestly it's not a really big deal. It just takes a little bit more time, but you still have a very decent kit. So the following thing is we're gonna close, of course, our fuselage, and for this initially I will put some modeling paste to use it as a ballast, and I will put it in front of the aircraft. Like that the plane will not sit on its tail. So after that we will be able to close the fuselage, as you can see, and for this I will use some Revell needle glue, and then we're gonna close everything together. So what I'm doing on this part is I will also use some adhesive tape to make sure that basically the cylinder is going to be quite tight and sealed, to avoid to have using too much putty later on. So I will do that, and then of course I will try to get it as tight as possible. Then the next step will be to move on to the windscreen. So there is a little bit of adjustments. So initially I use that on the dry plastic, and then I will do all the little arrangement, and then of course I will glue the windscreen directly on to the fuselage. Then we're gonna move to our wings, and once again due to the quality of the mold, we have to remove all that extra plastic. Then of course I'll see that there is some adjustment to make on the lower part of the wing, and sometimes there are some issues. I mean, there are some alignment issues, but nothing too difficult. Sometimes you have to cut some plastics and redo the arrangement. Then we're gonna move on to the tail, and then of course I will have to put a little bit of putty and close all those gaps. The main thing on that build is, as I normally do, is I put some windows decal instead of having the aircraft windows directly exposed or open. So like this, it's for me it's the easiest solution, and the result is normally quite good. So I don't have to pay too much attention on not destroying the windscreen. So of course we're gonna close all those gaps, even on the wings and all the other parts, and on the tail as well. And we're gonna of course let it cure, and when it will be ready, so while this is curing actually, we're gonna start preparing some other parts. In this case, this is our engine mount that we're gonna prepare. Of course still the same adjustment, but nothing too complicated, and then we're gonna glue them together. It's now time to remove all that extra putty on that model. So we're gonna start with the tail, and we're gonna get it ready, and then we're gonna be able to move on to the rest of the build. So we're gonna start after that by the fuselage, and we're gonna cover all our fuselage like that. It's now time to glue our tail on the fuselage, and for this, well, not too complicated, just a little bit of glue. There will be a little bit of adjustment and fiddling to make sure that it's at the correct angle, and then we're gonna move on to removing the extra putty on those wings. So we will now work on adjusting basically those engine nacelle, and we're gonna fix them directly on the wing, and that's the next part of this build. So there is a little bit of rework, and so for this I use normally some scalpel blade to make sure that we're able to fix our engines, and then of course we're gonna glue them and put them directly on the engine. So we're gonna do this for the left and the right, and then we're gonna let it cure for a little bit before adding some putty and closing all the gaps. Time to put the horizontal stabilizer on the fin, and same process, still some standard glue, and after that of course we're gonna put some other fins on the back, on the lower part, and I think those are the anti-stall device or anti-spin device. I'm not sure which one is which. And then of course we're gonna close some more gaps, and after that we're gonna rescribe as well our fuselage. Thing is, while you're using a lot of sandpaper, you have a tendency to remove all the panel lines. So we're gonna rescribe them using initially a razor blade saw and then a rescribing tool. After that we're gonna start the final assembly. We're gonna add our wings to the fuselage, and so we're gonna work a little bit on that, and then the adjustments, re-glue it, and then of course we'll have to close the gaps on the upper surface with some Tamiya putty. It's now time to move the model to the paint booth. So for this model, the overall color is a shiny white color from Tamiya. I'm using the glossy color, the glossy white, and so we're gonna be all over the fuselage and the wings and the whole model. Now I'm doing the the gear doors, and then the front of the aircraft basically was not painted, and I left it for a couple of days to cure, and then we'll do the second layer later on. But now we're preparing the propeller. So those are 6-blade propeller, and the problem on that one, basically, especially on those propeller, is the quality of the mold and the injections. So we have to rework everything and to put everything through the sandpaper to make sure that we have the correct shape. Then we're gonna assemble that. We have the propellers and basically the spinner, and you have the lower part as well of that spinner, and then we're gonna be able to put them all together, add a little bit more glue, and then we're gonna be able to go back to the paint booth. So now we will finish the lower part of the fuselage with that glossy white color, and we're gonna of course let it cure a couple of more days, and then we'll be able to move on the last part basically. So after that, while this is drying, we're gonna move on to the undercarriage, and we'll use a matte black color and a paintbrush and a ball die as I normally do. So I needed to paint the nose with a canary, yellow canary color. So as you can see, I put the plane in a plastic bag, and then I sealed the entry with some other tape, and that would prevent basically to do all the rest, or to basically protect the rest of the model. That was the easiest way and the fastest way, and like this I didn't have to wait over a week to have that white paint would be completely cured. So after that we'll be able to remove that, and we're gonna paint the air intake as well with a black color. So it's now time to start the decaling process. So I used the decal straight out of the box. My good surprise was that those decals are printed by Pass Decal, and they are one of my favorite brand in Russia. I would say they are the best Russian brand for decals that I've been using so far, and so this was a really good surprise for me. So I enjoy working with those decals. They are thin enough, but they are strong enough as well to work them, so you can really enjoy what you're doing without having too much effort. So I'll be able to. So we will do basically now the right part of the fuselage, and putting all those decals for that NOK livery. While the decals are drying, we're gonna move on now to the gear assembly, and so we're gonna prepare the parts and then assemble the main landing gear struts together. So this time we're gonna move on to the lower part of the fuselage, add some more decal, and I have to say that I really enjoy that NOK aircraft because full of colors, shiny, and so it's really a nice little colorful aircraft that I really enjoy to build. So we'll now paint our propeller with matte black color, but nothing too special to add except that it was straightforward. So toward the end of that decaling process, I use some microsol decal solution, and that's to basically remove all the bubbles on the irregular surface, and that gives you really a perfect lines. You can see all the panel lines. After that, now we're gonna fix basically our landing lights. So there is some rework to do, and then we're gonna add as well our landing gear. So initially we'll put the landing gear, and then we're gonna move on back to those landing lights. So after finishing those little details, now we're gonna work out back on those propeller. So I had to take some pictures, and I was attaching them this way to make sure that I could do the correct job. And there is some yellow color basically on the tip of those propeller, but that's not the regular horizontal line. It's a little bit oblique, and then we're gonna paint the nose gear door as well with that yellow color. And then we're going to be finally able to put our landing lights. So there is a little bit of work on the lights itself, and as we did the pre-work earlier on the wing. So we are getting on the last small details. Now we're gonna add our gear doors. Those are the white one for the one located with the engines, and then we're gonna add the nose gear door for the front part, and then we will be adding the propeller. Then the plane will be ready for display. Here is the final result of that Dash 8 Q400 from NOK Air. I hope you enjoyed that kit review and that build with me. If you did so, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you soon for another build review and build video. Thank you for watching.